Hello. So, welcome back to the ministry. And tonight we're talking about marriage. A lot of you have been standing for marriage. A lot of you, whether you're standing for an old partner or a new partner, you have to have a goal for your marriage. Whether you're standing for an old partner or for a new partner. If you're standing for a old partner and the Lord has confirmed it to you that individual is your spouse, what you should do irregardless is still write down what it is you desire to see out of the marriage when you go into it. Okay? A marriage is a contractual agreement, a proposal, a decree, okay? A covenant between two people that could happen over a discussion and legal documentation being signed, right? But when you're in covenant with somebody that's been ordained by God, there is a spiritual aspect. Now, a lot of people don't understand that a marriage in its entirety is a spiritual aspect. Why you think that when you aren't walking with God and you have sexual intercourse with an individual, that there are certain elements of wisdom that person has about you and knowledge of you, and it's because you had physical contact with them. There was some type of blood covenant exchanged. Now, one might say, well, it's fluid. Why you think you gotta cut ties with people that you was in sexual immorality with before you get married to somebody else? Because the spirit behind those individuals is attached to you, incubi, succubi, uh, marine kingdom spirits. They must be broken because they cannot come with you where you're going. They will torment and cause confusion in your relationship. And when I tell you that these spirits will cause chaos, they will haunt your dreams. They will come with confusion. They will come in attempt of anger, obsessive. And it's the spirit. It ain't these people. There are people and counterfeits that will approach you. Pay close attention. They'll approach you, but they ain't got nothing to do with them. It's a spirit on them that sees that you're close to a manifestation of God doing something in your life that wants to attach, veil, get attached to you or that to that capacity because there is something coming for you. This is why you need to set your goals of what you desire for marriage legitimately. I'm not sitting up here waiting on a marriage because I just thought it was cute one day to say, I'm going to watch me some YouTube videos on kingdom marriage. Uh, I tell you this, I was on prayer call. It was late December 2015, and somebody mentioned kingdom marriage. I'd never heard of it before. And I actually wasn't even looking for a relationship at the time, had no interest in it. The way my life was at that point in time in my life, I was like, look, I'm not concerned. I'm trying to get me right. I ain't even thinking about trying to get in a relationship with nobody. So I said, what the heck? Let me start praying for the individual so that when I am ready, they'll be ready. That seemed like common sense, right? So after I heard that prayer call, I sat down and I started writing the vision and making it plain. What kind of things I wanted to be doing, what I was interested in mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially. I wrote this stuff down. You have to have marital goals. Then on top of that, you have to understand what marriage looks like. Reading our favorite 3 books. Is it 3 books? Yes. The book of Ruth, the book of Esther, Proverbs 31. Understanding those areas, understanding what it takes to be in relationship, in covenant, what it looks like as the values of a Proverb 31 woman. This woman is not somebody that's just sitting on her couch doing nothing all day, waiting for somebody to sweep her off her feet and just be a kept woman. That's so cute if you believe in that. I'm going to need you to go sit down and figure out what your purpose is. Because can't no man come alongside you. Get offended if you want. He can't come alongside you when you don't know what you standing for. What he coming alongside you for? Because I know a lot of you, there are people that are like, I just want to come alongside me because I want to say that I got a husband. You want the wedding. Let me explain something to you. Those of us that have been standing in wait for these marriages, I'm talking about marriage. We understand it's a marriage. It ain't about the wedding day. If you're still thinking about the wedding day, you lost the whole premise of it. Okay? Because after the I do's are said, then it's a process of work that needs to take place after that. Work, prayer, covering, business, establishment, living establishment, business establishment, integrating into one another's lives, understanding how you operate together, how you operate separately. So you're not sitting up there getting offended because he stopped talking to you for a period of time. You're like, what? Well, why he stopped talking to me? He mad at me or something? No, maybe he's just one of those types of people that when it comes down to being a concentrated individual that works in his creative field, or you work in your creative field, do you want to be bothered? When you're in your zone, you got a project that you're working on, you want to make sure that project is complete, and you do not want to be distracted by anybody, including your spouse. And when you have that level of understanding, you won't get offended that if he working on a project, you be like, oh, he working on a project. So he going to be working on a project for a couple of days. You know why you need to have a purpose? So that when he working on his project, you can be working on yours. So you're not up under him. I remember years ago in a previous relationship that I was trying to work on my projects. This is how I knew the relationship was coming to an end, because of the fact that when I started working on my projects, it started to offend him. Okay? Because of how I was separating myself from him to get what I needed to get done in order to work on the projects that I was working on. If the man is called to walk with you, whatever project that you're called to work on, he's going to be an assistant to that project. And you are going to assist with his project. But you're not going to be sitting up there like, well, I can't help you and this guy can't. No. The individual is going to show interest in what you're interested in. Duh. And if it's an assignment that God gave you, He's really going to have interest in it because God gave it to you. And if you really are aligned by the Lord, y'all going to be praying over y'all assignments together anyway. See how that works? Do you see how that works? Because a kingdom marriage is about coming together as one and completing the assignment that God has set forth before you to do, whether it is that you're supposed to come together in an industry, a career field, multiple fields, where you are creatively and apt, where you're taking your skills and your abilities and taking things that you may have been working on in private into grouping, team building, so on and so forth, and then therefore developing those things, whether it's mutual, like a mutual project that the two of y'all are working on as partners, or you're working on your individual project and their individual projects. But you're being an assistant to them in whatever capacity they need at the time. That if it's their project that's the big thing, then in that season, you're going to be an assistance to whatever capacity that you're able to be assistance in that. But in some seasons, it may be the fact that, okay, this is a season that you're birthing children. So you're not going to be able to be as readily available to them as you might have been when you weren't pregnant. But during that season, just like when you was nurturing your business baby, nurturing your purpose baby, if you didn't have a purpose, still ask you, what are you looking for kingdom marriage for if you didn't have a purpose to begin with? What are you called to do by the Lord? Because you need to have a relationship with God, and you need to be about His business first before you could ever look for a man. Because think about it like this. If God is your first husband, what you think He feel that you staring over there for this man that you don't know yet, don't know what he look like yet, you all confused, you don't know, the counterfeit come up to you, and then you having a temper tantrum because the one that you know that the Lord done told you is yours. He made you wait a little bit longer. He gonna work that pride about you. Do you have a purpose? What are you putting your hands to? How are you putting your hands to it? But most importantly, you need to have your goals mentally, emotionally. What are you doing? What are the characteristics? How are you operating? That if this person came alongside you, how would you be able to assist them? And I'm going to talk about this part because we're going to go into financial stuff later in another video. There is this stigma about, oh, a man don't want no woman that's not doing nothing. Of course he don't want no woman that's not doing nothing. But you don't have to be fully financially established for this man to come in. Okay? A lot of us get caught up in the fact, and I believe that this has been my thing, that I honestly say I've been chasing getting the things that the Lord put my hands to work without my spouse being around. Because I'm like, okay, I want him to see that I'm doing something. I want him to see that But in some cases, the Lord will, if especially when God's trying to break pride out of you, sometimes He won't allow the thing that you're putting your hands to operate properly in the way that you think that it should, because He knows that you want to control that thing. And because you want to control that thing to be able to say, oh, I did it. I was able to start making money off of that thing. He's going to have you in a season where you might be sequestered to fully dependent on him for manna. Now, there are other people, and I used to always wonder this, because there are some people, it's like they were able to have the apartment, they were able to have the job, they were able to have this, and it was, you could see all of it was godly aligned. And I was like, God, I said, when my husband ain't here, what we do? Because I always used to say that to God. God, what we doing? Well, he ain't here. What we doing? He ain't here. We could go and we could have the apartment, and we could get the business started and all that. And 3 people came to me and said, yeah, you ain't gonna be able to start that until your husband shows up. I said, but what? His hands being put to that, and God showed me revelation, dreams, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, because I had some good vision and stuff. It's like, no. Yeah, that stuff that you put in your hands, confirmed. I'm like, well, so God will put you in a planning season, but what will end up happening is He'll lead people into your life to help you plan, because what your husband is going to be coming into alignment with you for, especially if you have a calling on your life, he's coming to help position you in the industries, the places, the spaces that you're called to operate in. But you were supposed to take the time that your husband was not there to cultivate those areas that God has shown you that you're talented in, that is your zones of genius that you're supposed to make an impact in. And you plan accordingly towards those things, put them on the altar, sow into those things coming to pass, so on and so forth, so that you are positioning yourself so that when God releases these spouses, when God releases the assistance, because some of you in certain seasons, some of you had the blessing of the glory that God set you up with purpose partners that were friendship groups, that these were teams of people that were going to help you in order to be able to establish the build out of what it is God has called you to walk into. But these things cannot be fully made manifest until your spouse came up. This is why it's kingdom. It's kingdom because kingdom needs you to be working on a kingdom assignment. You get what that is? And then in you coming together to work on that kingdom assignment, that's where the blessings will come. That's where the manifestations will come. Because when two come together in agreement as touching the Father, you, your spouse, the Father, and you. 3-strand cord, not that easily broken. And then you put that agreement when you come together. See, that's what the biggest issue has been this whole time. The enemy wanted to keep you out of agreement. As long as y'all was out of agreement, he could continue to succeed in whatever it was that he was trying to do in both of y'all lives because y'all wasn't in agreement. But the second y'all get together and get into agreement, because y'all gonna get together and then you got to make sure that you're in agreement once you've gotten together. And what the enemy will try to do is he's gonna try to play with your head, play with the information that you get, play with the conversation, communication that you get, play with communication period, and then play with the way that you hear, understand, and view that thing. Try to pull you back in old habits and all that kind of stuff. This wasn't even supposed to be part of this. No. Tiffany Montgomery Stuck calls it this way. You should have an exemplary marriage with no arguments. I pray that as often as I can remember to do that. Because a kingdom marriage is not supposed to reflect Adam and Eve's marriage. What you mean? What did God say when he cursed Adam and Eve? That the woman would want to rule over the man. Well, no, she would want to control the man and the man would want to rule over the woman. And they would be continual toiling. This is what counterfeit relationships and worldly relationships are built on. You see it, and if you actually are paying attention to just life in general, when you see two people together, 95% of the time, the woman is operating under some form of a Delilah Jezebelic spirit. I've seen it happen 80% of the time. Right down to the court case I was looking at the other day. Woman was sitting up there bragging about the fact that she had been cheating on her husband. I'm like, my God. And they just have this sadistic, smirky attitude about themselves, like they're just entitled to it. I'm just like, oh, God. Some of these men have only seen women like this and don't think there's anything better than that. So coming into contact with a person like you, it's like, oh my God, are you for real? Can I test? What? Are you serious? Yeah. God does make some real ones every once in a while. God will make a real one. But he got to get you right and he got to get them right. What does that look like? You taking the micro steps and the macro steps to start the healing process of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially. We already talked about the prayer posture, understanding how to pray. Go to my prayer list that shows, it's a 10 video playlist that shows all of the what's the name? It shows all of the prayers. Okay. Every prayer that, I think it was about 10 prayers that I did in that playlist. So it shows you how to pray, how to warfare prayer, all of these kinds of things. These are the things that you're learning in your preparation, and you're going to need them, especially if you're new to this, because you haven't walked through your valley. In the valley, you're going to learn through boot camp training what demons are, how to discern demons, words of knowledge, wisdom. You're going to learn it all, because they're going to try you. God wasn't going to release you into this marriage till them spirits trying you is second nature. Meaning when they try you, you go pray and you come back in a short period of time and keep it moving. Until you are unmoved, he could move you into that next season because you think that they don't exist. You think you ain't going to be tried. You have to cultivate the right relationship in order to make sure that you're not surrounding yourself with the wrong people. But yeah, secondarily, if you don't know how to do this, I'm going to suggest again, go to Tiffany Montgomery's playlist, Year of the Bride Fast, 25 days, the final Year of the Bride Fast. Now, I did a support group that is going to be, I'm about to change the name of that support group anyway. It's in relation to the kingdom marriage. It's like, what did I call it? I'm a wife or something like that is what the name's going to be. I have to change the entire fullness of the list. But I'm going to actually put it's a verse that I created that's going to go in for that group. So, there's that. And that group, I already put a featured post that you can go and look at Tiffany's list. Because for you guys, I did a support set of 25 videos to help you go through it. That as you went through each, you could just come to that video for the day of each day of the 25 and just, I did little passages. I did little, what you call it? Little posts. I did video. So it would be nice if you did. And the main page still has the, what you call it? The, list of vegan diet stuff. I just found a group. I found like 3 groups because I look in the vegan diet anyway. So I'm in a Daniel fasting group. I'm in a vegan recipes for beginners, and it's another recipes forum on Facebook. I love that stuff. I can look at recipes all day long. Which is so ironic for a person that consecrates as frequently as I do. Maybe that's because I'm hungry. But, yeah, going through her consecration, you gonna find your good, bad, and the ugly. Because I must tell you, and I'm gonna tell you with love, that you will be rewarded by God if you don't deal with your idolatry. You will become a slave to whatever individual you connect yourself with that God did not ordain you to walk with. And they will become your warden and imprison you. It says in the word that a man is better off sitting on the corner of a rooftop than to be in a house with a quarrelsome woman. Some of your spouses, one of the reasons that they left is God made that quarrelsome environment with that individual so bad that they had no choice but to leave, because it was a scenario for their own sanity. They had to get away from that person. But see, people that operate under that type of spirit will try to use cunning bewitchment tactics to cause fear, cause confusion, operating in word curses, all this kind of stuff in order to get them to try to turn around and come back. Okay? And when they can't get them to do it by just threatening them enough, then they're going to hop into their closed little space of wherever they go. And they're going to pull out their Ouija boards, pull out their candle work, pull out their uh, all the little rituals that they do to try to stop them from coming to you. Bringing them into insecurity and all this kind of stuff, coming against their mind and all that kind of stuff. Because they desperately are trying to keep them away from you. It's like, what is wrong with people? They just satisfied. As long as we don't have. Which is, it's sadistic, it's sick, it's insane. It truly is insane. The God that I serve is giving this man clarity. The God that I serve will give your partner clarity. Because all it is the man needs clarity. He needs clarity. And Lord, you want me to share that dream I had? I saw a man. This was not my spouse. I saw a man. And this man needed to come out and do something out of his comfort zone. Okay? But in him needing to come out of his comfort zone, he needed to come out into a public place to do something. And I found myself in this dream trying to coax him to come out and do what he needed to do within his performance. Remember, Luke 1:45 says, she shall see a performance of the things in which she believed. But this individual was dealing with a form of stage fright to come out and to perform, which only reminds me, Dana Ray did a word recently that talked about the stage fright. I do not know what the name of the word is off the top of my head, but she talks about the Lion King in it, and she talks about the honeymoon is close or something like that. And in that, she mentions a moment where the person is afraid to come out and confront the situation. Whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, whether they don't know how you're going to react to the information that they need to tell you. But God needs to break that. But I saw this individual. It went from being a person, then I saw a seal crawling back into, like, sliding down into some type of... I need to research some more of that one. If I find out what it is, you'll probably get it way sooner than you see this video.